Oh wait, no longer. Greatness has arrived. Welcome to the Trophy Room, a PlayStation show made by the players for the players. I'm your host, Joseph, and today we are taking a look at and reviewing the Arctis 7Ps for your PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Nintendo Switch, PC, and Android phone. So with all that said, and with all that out of the way, Future Joe, start the show. So before we begin this review, I want to lay down some ground rules first and foremost. Firstly, SteelSeries did provide us with these headphones, so take that as you will. Also, if you're looking for a review on the Arctis 7Xs, the Xbox equivalent, luckily, these headsets are practically one and the same, so the Arctis 7Ps, you're going to get something out of this even if you're looking for the Arctis 7Xs. There's just slight change, which we'll talk about at the end of this video. But with that said, these headsets are going to run you $149.99 US dollars. And how reviews work on this channel is simply put, we're going to talk about the build quality, the features, the mic, and of course, how these things sound. So let's talk about the build quality first and foremost. I love how these things look. I love how these things feel. And honestly, when I put these things on my head, they're rather comfortable. And that's all due to the design of the headset, not having those weird chunky notches on the side, but rather have the nice ski band on the top. It's a really nice one-size-fits-all approach without having to do the weird notch dance when you're trying to put your headphones on. The fact of the matter is that these headsets are just built extremely well. Just with the Arctis 7s before them, these things are super comfortable, and at the same exact time, they feel premium. And that's because of the metal headband at top here. It doesn't feel like when I put this thing on my big fat head that I'm bending the metal, but there's a good give to it. And at the same exact time, when I put this on my big fat head, it does a great job at fitting comfortably without feeling like my head's being squeezed to a pulp. So overall, the headband on top, the metal construction is a huge plus. On top of that, the headset themselves, man, they have a light feel, of course, being plastic as they are, without feeling cheap, which is a huge, huge step that one has to go through to do that. It's a really good feeling headphone. And individually here, you have this nice little microfiber cloth for your headphone cushions that feel really nice, displace heat rather well, and do a great job sealing in sound so that sound isn't escaping out of your ear at the same time blocking a lot of outside noise from getting inside your headphone. Overall, the build quality of these headsets, just like the Arctis 7s before them, is just stellar. SteelSeries really did, if it ain't broke, don't fix it approach to these headphones that I really, really liked. Let's talk about the feature set though, because that's where I do have some issues with this headset. All right, so here's the headset. The doctor gloves are on. It's time to get serious here. Let's talk about the features I like first, and for the most part, it's all standard fare and it's all on this headset. So first and foremost, you get your micro USB charging port. You have your 3.1 jack, so you can plug this into a phone via wired connection. Then you have a share port. The cool thing about the share port is you can just take a wire, plug this into another headphone, and just share audio together, which I think is a really cool thing. But the awesome feature here, it's more like a hidden one, is that you could use this wired connection to plug into an Xbox controller. So if you have both an Xbox and PlayStation, you can use the same headset here. Of course, you're going to be missing out on the cool features like surround sound, but again, it's something so that you don't need to go out and buy two headphones for. You can still use one. That said, though, you get to the volume control, pretty standard fare there, and then your mute button, which right here is something really nice. When you press down on the mute button and you mute yourself, the button actually juts out. So when you want to unmute yourself or you don't know if the party can actually hear you if you're muted or not, you just run your finger on the back of the button and you go, oh, I'm muted, or oh, I'm not that interesting. So with that hard truth swallowed, we press down, we're unmuted. let's get to the part where I don't think it's a step up. In fact, I kind of think it's a bit of a step down. Now, of course, I'm not talking about the power button. That's also standard fare, but it's really the side tone here. I don't know why they put this here instead of the party to game chat balance. I really don't like the side tone. I don't feel like I need it. I would have much rathered having a balance between, my party chat or game volume. I really, really don't know why this is here, and really it's something that I sorely miss on these Arctis headsets. That said, though, that is really the only downside from this gen headset to last gen's headset. Let's go over to the microphone to talk about the battery of this headset. So, this is how the Arctis 7Ps sound when there is no compression, when there's no sound reduction. The only thing I've done to the audio is boost up the gain to the microphone. I do need to preface this because it's usually this part of the video where people get really jarred by the sound. I've been using a $400 mic versus a $150 headset. Bear in mind, it's going to sound a lot better. The Shure mic's going to sound a lot better than these gaming headsets. Gaming headsets have never sounded amazing, great, good, or decent. They all are just barely acceptable at that. These headsets, on the other hand, once you get into your PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5 party chat, there's already built-in compression to make you sound better. So this microphone is going to sound better when you're on your PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 5, but also bear in mind that the mic is going to come in really, really soft. So you're going to have to boost the gain of this mic to a very, very, very high rate to get a really good sound out of here. But as sound does go for these headsets, it is a lot clearer than a lot of gaming headsets out there. So I have to bear in mind, though it does sound a little jarring right now, it will sound a hell of a lot better when you're on your PS4 or your PlayStation 5. So now let's talk about the battery life on these headphones, and then we'll talk about the dongle as well real fast. Battery life's impressive. They say it's 24 hours with just 3 weeks of owning this headset. I think I've only had to charge it maybe 2, maybe 3 times. So a really impressive battery life here, especially boasting the sounds that it does and the feature set that it has. It's really impressive. That said, the dongle situation, just because it's a USB-C dongle and because it's very, very small, make sure you're carrying this around if you're unplugging it and plugging it back into things. But this dongle right here, just because it's USB-C does not mean you plug it in the front of your PlayStation 5. This is really meant to be plugged into phones that have USB-C or your, computer that has a USB-C port. Because if you plug it into your PlayStation 5 port, it's going to block the USB-A port as well. So to remedy this, SteelSeries does recommend you use the adapter that comes in the console itself. It's a long cable that connects to the dongle to a USB 3 port. And yeah, none of the functionality is lost. You're still going to get that awesome surround sound and all that jazz with that adapter. But I thought it is something to mention because I know people are going to try to put this into their port and complain about it. It's really not meant to be put in to your PlayStation 5. It's really meant for your Nintendo Switch or your mobile. With that said, though, let's talk about the sound, because that is really the most important thing, right? I think when we're talking about headsets, it has to be comfortable, number one, and then right afterwards, it needs to be really just sounding great. These headsets, coming from the Arctis 7s over to the 7Ps and 7Xs, nothing really has changed. They still use the same drivers, so you're going to expect the same balanced audio from across the board. If there's an elevator pitch for these headsets, if I could only say 2 words to describe this headset, it's clear and it's detailed. Everything sounds clear. Everything sounds crisp. Everything is detailed just so well, especially using the Tempest audio, the 3D audio from the PlayStation 5. These headsets just sound absolutely bonkers good. You're going to be sounding the music. You're going to be hearing sounding. You're going to be hearing the music. You're going to be hearing the clashing of the swords, the shooting of guns, the environmental sounds like footsteps, all rather well. Most gaming headsets just focus on bass because it's all about explosion and shooty bang bangs. SteelSeries really wanted to do a balanced approach. So nothing really peaks out. Everything's just very down the board, down the middle. You're going to get a well balanced audio, and that's something I definitely dig. And of course, you're going to get that awesome 7.1 surround sound stuff as well built into this headset. But really, it's just going to sound really nice. So at the end of the day, these headsets sound great. These headsets look great. These headsets feel great. And the biggest difference between the Arctis 7Xs and the Arctis 7Ps, other than the Xs work on Xbox and the Ps work on PlayStation, is that the Arctis 7Xs are also going to have, instead of the side tone, it's going to have the balance between party chat and game audio. And that is something that's really missing from this headset that the Xs have. So with that said, if you bought a 7 and you're like, oh man, did I miss out? No, you didn't. These are practically the same headsets. But if you are looking for a headset and you're not willing to spend that $300 price, you're looking for somewhere around that 100 spot. I've said this last year. I'm going to say it here again. The Arctis 7s, the Arctis 7Ps, the Arctis 7Xs are the best headset at this price range, bar none. There's just no other headset that feels the way they do and sounds the way they do. It is 100% worth your time, worth your money. And so with all that said, with all that out of the way, I strongly recommend these headsets. If you have any comments, some questions, leave them down in the comment section below. I'll try to get to them as fast as I can. And here at the Trophy Room, we're talking all things PlayStation news, reviews, unboxings, and of course the Trophy Room podcast, a PlayStation podcast made by the players for the players, where each and every Thursday, me and my best friend Kyle talk about the latest and greatest in all things PlayStation. So you can check the video version out there on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast services. You can find the Trophy Room podcast there. And so with all that said, please hit like, share, subscribe if you like this video. If you want to see more content like this, make sure you ring that bell. And with all that said, with all that out of the way, everybody keep your wits about you, keep hunting, and keep playing PlayStation.